Within Gloucestershire, this is still quite a common occurrence for us, with people sort of starting cooking, falling asleep. Although chip pans aren't as common as they used to be, people are still doing it in saucepans and things like this. So make sure you always keep an eye on your cooking. Lino here is going to give us an example of the correct way to extinguish a chip pan fire. We're using a standard amount of oil. We've not over-egged it or put absolutely loads in. This is a normal cooking amount. So you see a bit of smoke when the oil has ignited. Lino is using a fire blanket. You'll notice he covers and walks away. It's important not to check it, not to go back and look at it again, and to call the fire brigade if you're concerned. If you don't have a fire blanket near your kitchen, you can use a wet tea towel, something like that. Always make sure to keep your hands well out the way and behind the tea towel or fire blanket when you're using it. As you can see, that's why it's important not to go back and check it. As soon as the fire blanket is removed, the oxygen gets back into the oil and it reignites. So here you can see we have a standard amount of chip pan oil on fire, and Lino is just going to add some water. That is why it's important not to put water on a chip pan fire.
And I'll begin a systematic approach that we call the team approach. What this does is the first phase is scene safety and scene assessment. As you can see, the gentleman in the white helmet, Watch Manager Smith, is now assessing the situation to ascertain what the correct form and attack of action is. So now the crews are on the other side of the vehicle. They're actually getting an equipment dumped together. So all the equipment that's going to be required for this, they'll gather and put in one place ready until a plan has been formulated. So you see the large items in that the gentlemen are holding there are hydraulic equipment, one being a cutter that cuts and a spreader that spreads, and you'll see shortly exactly how they operate. Okay, next phase of our team approach is stabilisation. So as you can see, steps, as we call them, are being placed underneath the vehicle to stabilise it, which gives us a safe working platform, also stops the car from moving. And also the hose reel. The hose has been run off because if any potential for fire to occur, we're able to deal with it quickly. And if you look inside the vehicle, a cover is being put on the steering wheel, and what this does is any underpoid airbags are now mitigated by this cover. So the incident commander now is acting as if like a conductor. He's getting everyone in place where they need to be, and the crew will continue to stabilise the vehicle. As you can see, they're putting some more chops and blocks underneath there, and we do this underneath the A, B and C pillar, and also the front of the back of the vehicle. And this does change depending on if the vehicle's on all fours, on its roof, on its side. We have different methods of stabilisation. So the door opened very easily then, which is always good for us. We have different methods of opening a door. We've got quite a few techniques that we do, and one that's being demonstrated now with the hooligan tool, which is being placed in the crease of the door, is called a can opener. And what we do is we expose a shut line, and it lets us access a hinge where we could start removing the door. And if you look inside the vehicle, I know it's a little difficult, but there's one firefighter inside, which we will always do if necessary, which is giving casualty care and first aid to anyone in the vehicle. You can see the hands are placed on the sort of head area. It's because we're stabilising the C section of the spine. And also part of our second phase of the team approach is glass management. So we want to get rid of any glass that could then smash as we're doing our extrication techniques, and this mitigates any sort of potential for an airborne hazard that can be created to both crews and the casualty. And you can see a couple of the firefighters have actually got respiratory protection around their neck, so when we're smashing glass or there's potential for it to be airborne, we use our respiratory protection as a means of PPE. And what the crew now are putting on the rear window is something called Pack X, and effectively it's like a sticky cling film that we can put on the glass, so when we smash it, it remains intact. So as you can see, the crew have now, they've rolled the window down, and this mitigates more than half of the glass actually. If they break it, it will fall down into the window, which you'll see them do shortly. And also, you see the boots being removed. So we can remove that intact, which is usually a couple of bolts, and we undo the struts, and then we're able to remove it, and then maybe a wiring loom as well that would be disconnected fairly easily. I did it.
No, coming back together now to see what it's doing.
So as you can see now, the incident commander just taking a step back and he's giving the crew some details for their work. This is good as it gives like an overall vision and an idea of what everyone's doing, and we can execute our techniques a bit more effectively and efficiently. So the green sheet that you see before you will be placed over the car. What this is doing is stopping any glass getting towards the casualty. So we call it hard or soft protection, and there's just different ways we can protect the casualty from any hazards that we're going to create whilst we start with our execution procedures. So if you saw there, he actually broke the glass in the bottom corner. And glass is actually quite strong anywhere apart from those corners. So if we give it a little tap, it actually smashes the glass quite well. And as you can see where they put the packets on there, they're able to remove all of the glass intact, and that's mitigated any airborne hazard to everyone significantly. So now if you see the spreaders are being used, what's happening is we're going to be spreading the door off. So it just gives us some more space, the space creation element of the approach. We always manage the glass before that if we can, and just so it doesn't smash as we're removing the door. So that door is basically held up by 2 bolts, a strap, a metal strap and a wiring loom. So what the crew are doing is spreading the door so that sequentially both of those bolts will pop. You might hear a loud bang when they do. And it's just a way for us to get the door off quickly so we don't have to undo loads of bolts, which will take a little bit longer. That was the pop, so that's the first bolt at the bottom done. So if the door's in this position, we always do the bottom one first. It just stops the door riding down if we were to do the top one. And if you can see closely, the tips of the spreaders have been repositioned. We always try and spread off a solid surface. If you don't, it can prove a bit more difficult. But so we just put a bit more packets on the glass there. As the door is spreading, it's going to break the glass. So before the crew proceeds, they're just going to make it a little bit safer. So the crew now, they're actually managing the glass again. So now, if you can see, one firefighter is cutting the windscreen with a reciprocating saw, whilst the other one is dampening it down with a water-soaked brush. The reason he's doing this is the recips saw actually produces quite fine glass dust, and by putting water over the top, it actually gathers the dust and stops it becoming airborne. And then as the crew had managed the quarter glass at the front, they're able to spread the door the second phase. So we always try to keep things clean and sort of tidy if we can, if we've got time with a spare body, which one of the firefighters is doing now is brushing the glass away from the floor. This does pose a hazard to us, causing what we call marbling, and it's actually a slip hazard. So if there's a spare person and we're able to mitigate any hazards that may arise, then we'll do so. And now the crew are popping the second door, so that's 2 doors off. So we're in fully to our third phase of our RTC team approach, which is space creation.
You didn't hit it this time and get stung.
So phase 4, space creation. So the crew are now, they're doing the last door, the driver's door now. The crew are actually working simultaneously, so you've got 2 firefighters on the near side of the vehicle and 2 firefighters on the off side of the vehicle. And they're still undergoing phase 4. We've heard the sort of loud clunk there, it was the cutters, the piece of equipment the firefighters holding on the front of the vehicle, and what they've done now is they've just cut the top of the B post. So the overall objective of the crew is to remove the whole roof, and what that does is it gives the crew quite a lot of access. It's a technique we use amongst many others. It's just dependent on the scenario we face. So quite commonly what we do is a roof removal. It gives us access to the casualty, and it allows us to put things like long boards in place. So you can imagine if there's any sort of injuries to spine or top of the neck, the C-spine, we have to be very careful with how we move the casualty around, and giving us as much space as possible allows us to give the casualty the best possible care as we take them from the vehicle. So as well as the cutters, we can use the reciprocating saws to cut through posts of the vehicle. Quite tough at times, so it's a bit of perseverance required. So if you see in this scenario, the reciprocating saw didn't work as effectively as the crew would like, so they've upgraded to the cutters. They're very strong hydraulic pieces of equipment, deceptively strong on appearance. That one does have a cutting force of around 100 tons, so very strong. So typically these incidents, when we go to them, they do take anywhere up to an hour, and obviously the quicker we can do it, the more time for triage the casualty will have. And then the urgency of how we work is dictated on the condition of the casualty. So we have two plans. We have an emergency plan, which is put in first, and that's if the casualty needs to be rapidly extricated, we can do so. And then we have our full plan, which the emergency plan can work into. And that's what we're seeing now, is the full roof removal is our full plan. All the while the emergency plan is still in place. So if we attend these incidents most commonly with ambulance service, if they want us to remove the casualty as quick as possible, we can do with our emergency plan. So in these road traffic collisions, we do work with quite a few agencies as well as ambulance. We commonly work with police who will help with the road closures. Also in that regard with highways. Highways are really good with us at times for closing, whether it's motorway lanes or any other sort of road. Because obviously quite a big hazard for us on these incidents is the road itself. And you can imagine the temptation to look at what's going on as you're driving past. We call this rubbernecking. And if you're not looking at the road ahead, you're looking, well, if you're looking at us, you're not looking at the road ahead. So, you know, unfortunately, sometimes passerbys can then become a hazard also. So you see that they actually have cut the whole roof of the car, so it's a convertible now. And it's going for about £500 if anyone wants to buy it. So that's our full access now. That's the 5th phase. We have full access to the casualty. So you see the crews are just working to make a little bit more space in preparation for their extrication, which is our 6th and final phase of the team approach. We immobilise and extricate the casualty, and most commonly they'll be conveyed to hospital with South West Ambulance Service or anyone else on scene. So what the crews are doing now is so the crews are putting some sharps protection over the posts that they've cut. So obviously now they're going to be sharp pieces of metal, and you can imagine how severe of a hazard that is.
That's very important, isn't it?
So you can see the firefighter's gone in the back now, and with a longboard or a Furno board, and what they're going to do is going to put it in position so that they can extricate the casualty from the rear of the vehicle. So what they do now is they'll get the board in place, and then they will gently and secure the casualty to the longboard.
Putting the seat right back there.
So if you've noticed, they've kept...
That's the casualty.
Apologies, we're having technical issues. So the crews now will slowly pull the casualty up the longboard.
Go with the hose when they came to our cul-de-sac. You can have it. So they're going to open it back to back.
So they're managing the cervical spine, all the while pulling the casualty up the board. And once the casualty is secured to the board, they'll pull him out of the back of the vehicle.
Oh my god,
Cheers, Graham.
Have a night.
This is like what an ambulance would do.
Yeah, but he was stuck in the path of the fire accident first, and then I'm sure they'll probably get into an ambulance.
Where's an ambulance?
There's not an ambulance here today, it's just a demonstration.
He's okay. He'll stand up in a minute.
In real life.
And there you have it, the casualty has been successfully extricated from the vehicle. Give a round of applause. So this vehicle requires 2 people minimum to operate it. As you can see, Jude is in the turret. Give him a wave, Jude. And Watchman's Brindley will be in the cage, which will become apparent shortly. It does require us to wear harnesses as we're working at height, and we remain safe doing so. very small, compact and neat right now, but it can go very, very high enough to save 2 people at the top of the tower, if you can see them. So that will be our demonstration for you. We will show you how we would effect the rescue from height using this vehicle. We can also save cats from trees with this. So when we're using this appliance, what we do is we look if we can first sight it where we are on the ground, is it suitable, and then is there anything above us, so anything like ladders, trees, canopies, electric cables, they can restrict our ability to use this. Luckily here there's none of that, so we can get up there. So we can use it as a rescue from height. And also as a water tower. If you can see on the front of the cage, there's a big red monitor. It's actually the strongest in the brigade. So if there's a building on fire and we need lots of water on that building from height, we mobilise one of these. There's actually 2 in the county. The other one is stationed at Gloucester North. And in any high-rise incidents, we can also use it as a dedicated riser. So you get a bit of a closer look there. In the front of the cage is the monitor, the branch, the red cannon looking thing. So we hook in when we're in the cage. Again, we're working from height. We don't want to accidentally slip out and fall. Who wants to see how high this goes before we do the rescue? I heard about 3 whispers then. I didn't actually hear anyone shout yeah, but I'll give you another go. Who wants to see this go max height? Brilliant, okay. So Tom, right now, what he's done is he's folded down our platform, we're demonstrating it. So if we're going to effect the rescue from height, that platform is then a means for getting whoever's in need of rescue into the cage. Okay, so this can be controlled by either Tuke or Tom from the cage or the turret, as we call them. So Tuke, who is sat in the turret, which is on the appliance, he's now got control and he's taking Tom up to 32 metres, which is the highest it can go. And then we can alternate controls between the turret and the cage, so depending on who would benefit from that most. Everyone wave, bye-bye Tom! So as you can see, as it's approaching its max elevation, it's actually very high. And for those with a keen eye, it's probably more apparent why we call it a Brontosaurus, as it now resembles that dinosaur. Now, part of our training on this appliance is to climb down it. So, do we want to see Tom climb down? Tom, are you going to climb down? Tom is not climbing down, and I don't blame him. But what we will do is show you, once we've gone all the way up, is a rescue from height. Okay, so that is max elevation, very high. Tom has now got control in the cage, so we will begin with the demo and show you a rescue from height. So as you can see again, there's two people at the top of the tower that need help in. They've got themselves in a tricky situation and we've been called to get them down. So if you can look at it, it operates in two ways. There's a main boom, a second boom, and it also has an extension. So it does require the operator to use a lot of finesse to combine all of them together. It's a lot of movements, and it's not good for everything.
Tom is able to get the two people off the building.